This channel is for entertainment purposes only, not to be taken as legal advice. Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday. Oh, the week is going by so quickly. I'm excited to see everyone. Oh, and ready to talk about today's discussion, which is sovereignty today. How do we get sovereignty today? What? Paul Michael, I'm all over the internet. I'm watching everybody and their mama doing different processes, different remedies, and all that. What are the things that I can do to get sovereignty today? How do I get sovereignty? Well, first of all, I'm excited to have the definition of sovereignty, which is supreme power or authority. There's a quote that says, "How can we hope to wrest," with the W, wrest, sovereignty away from the oligarchy and back to the people? This is all about jurisdiction, supremacy, dominion, power, and ascendancy. Similarly, this is all about autonomy, independence, self-governance, self-rule, and also home rule. Self-governing and being independent is to be sovereign. And the first step into sovereignty is to recognize that the most inherent right that we have as sovereigns is the right to be left alone. It's the right to have it left alone. So how do we get into that? Where is the intermediary? Have you ever talked to your friends and you're like, what's the first step to sovereignty that I could get it to where I could be self-governing today and start my first steps? Well, it depends on the direction that you want to go. Like, for example, depends. I have some clients who get consultations with me and they're like, Paul Michael, I want sovereignty. Sovereignty from what? And they said, the IRS, man, they won't give me off my back. They won't leave me alone. Paul Michael, I got to deal with my mortgage payment. I need to get them off my back. They won't leave me alone. I got police officers. They're on my back. They won't leave me alone. Paul Michael, I got problems with being over-thwarted by regulation and statutes that are putting me more and more restrictions on my right to move around and trampling on my constitutional rights. How do I get them to leave me alone? Good question. It's a very good question. First, I would say let's have an awakening. Have a first awakening within yourself. Knowing the truth and being aware of your situation is half the battle to the action steps and the courage that you need to get your remedy. Okay. What you need to know is that in 1933, the Federal Reserve stole all of our gold, all of our silver, and started the federal jurisdiction of a corporate entity called the United States, Inc., that circumvented the government and brought in corporation laws, rules, and regulations, and brought in also contracts in order for us to volunteer.
They pull Michael freeze up on us.
So what you're agreeing to is that you're abiding by your residency. Residency has everything to do with being a part of the U.S. corporate jurisdiction. You ever heard domicile? It's kind of like the people, someone saying, "Hey, I'm a resident of heaven on earth," all right, or the kingdom of heaven. You know, that's a kind of our Christian way of saying I'm a part of God's heavenly kingdom, right? I gave my life to Christ. I want to be a part of his kingdom. I'm a resident, or I'm domiciled into the kingdom of heaven, you know. In the same way, it also has to do with allegiance, right? Now, oftentimes that you hear within, you know, the United States, who is your allegiance to? And our allegiance is where we call home, right? We have an allegiance to want to protect what we consider our safety and refuge, as well as our family. So our residency and domicile is huge. And this is where the word game comes in. Because if you want remedy in taxes, if you want remedy with them trampling on your rights, or protecting yourself against unlawful charges from the court system, you first need to show and prove to them that you're not within their jurisdiction, that you don't have domicile in an abusive place. And one of the ways to do that is by doing status correction. One of the ways to do that is by making a proclamation about who your allegiance is to and what jurisdiction and domicile that you're under. So this is where status correction comes in, right? It's the first contract that you have. The amazing and beautiful thing about status correction really is not just an affidavit. It's not just a declaration. It's a story. Did you know that? That status correction is actually more a story than anything else. It's the story of what you have become aware of. It's the story of the banking cartel taking over our country, utilizing chattel paper like the birth certificate in order to put us into a foreign jurisdiction, which is based upon, you know, this private corporation, and get us to contract on how we're going to be treated, right? It's almost like slavery, right? Hey, do you want to come up on our slave ship? Sure. Looks like fun on there. All right, let's go up. Let's see what's going on. And then you get on there and you're like, hey, we don't want any liability if you're on this ship, you know, partying. Why don't you sign here? Well, why? Well, what are you going to do? Oh, well, there's drinks and food at the back. You want to have that, right? Yeah, I want some drink and food. Yeah, absolutely. So what we would sign this is a liability waiver, and you get the benefits of food and drink at the very back. Then you have appraised your rights all on the shore. You're now on their jurisdiction on the sea, on their boats, right? And that food and drink is your benefit. But the rest of the time you're on the ship is in your enslavement and servitude. Status correction explains that. It's the exchangement of your rights for a certificate to work for a private corporation. And every single day, people sign up to sign away their rights and to be under the protection of the Constitution. One of the first things that people do it happens all the time, is getting that birth certificate, right? That birth certificate is basically a contract to create an entity that works for the U.S. corporation. That's the first thing. So once that entity is created, which is a trade in business, by the way, which is called a straw man. You see, in America, we are a capitalist society. Have you ever thought about capitalism? Have you ever thought what that really means? It means that there's no such thing as employees. Paul Michael, what the? Huh? I worked for McDonald's yesterday. How am I not an employee? Huh? No. Capitalist society means that there are no employees. There's only businesses. And that's how our country was set up. So, for example, I had somebody work on my vehicle a week ago, just getting the oil change and some other stuff, and he was an independent. He had an independent business, and he worked for that business. That independent business, when he was fixing up my car and doing the oil change, I paid his business for his services. It's his business that got taxed, and then he paid himself a wage for working for his own business. That is his right. And that's how it was set up in America. Capitalism was for people to make businesses to work for other people and other businesses. Look at Amazon. Amazon is a phenomenal example. It's one company that has millions of companies that work on its platform, right? It's businesses working with businesses. And that's what the straw man is. It's the straw man is a business entity that you agreed to form with the United States Private Corporation, which is the name of that ship that you're a slave on, where your only benefit is that you get to eat and drink water while you work as a slave. So you have just enough to survive. And that's what we call the rat race. The rat race. Rat race means to survive. Means to survive. You're running around, scurrying around to find enough food and nourishment to procreate and to have enough energy to run the next day to get more food and nourishment. But you're not really living, right? And what has happened is because the U.S. corporation that we agreed to work for has assigned this artificial entity known as the straw man to us, we now have obligation to our federal employer. Our federal employer. Before I get into that, it's important to note the hierarchy of this slave system. So the system goes as follows. It's God over we the people over the state, which is the state of the union, and it's the state over the federal government, and the federal government over the artificial entities or trades and businesses. Okay? So there's that hierarchical level. The objective of the banking cartel was to get we the people who are at the epitome of the top of this hierarchy, you know, we're the lion of the jungle, to contract into agreeing that we are as low level as a artificial entity that the federal government controls. And the federal government controls two types of entities. One, the U.S. corporation, which is a foreign corporation formed by the foreign banking cartel and got the federal government to approve its foreign powers as an artificial entity. And the second entity is the foreign corporate entities that are created under that U.S. corporation that the federal government also oversees. So now let's go back to the people who have consults with me. Paul Michael, I have a problem with my taxes. I owe so many income taxes. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. What do I do? Well, first of all, you, through that 1040 form, is the admittance that you are a business that is working for the United States corporation. So the first thing I do with clients is I sit down and I go over definitions, international or internal revenue code of what a person is. A person to the IRC is a trade or business. It's not a person. I also go over jurisdiction. What's the difference between residence and domicile? What's the difference between United States and United States, the states of the Union? What's the difference between a statutory citizen from a non-statutory citizen, or an alien and a non-alien, and a non-resident alien and all that? So we there's terms that are used like word salad in order to confuse us. You need to know what those terminologies are and how they're used so that you can best define yourself. And the second thing you do is you go by affidavit. Affidavit is the strongest form of commercial law. Commercial law relies on affidavits and for the truth to come out. You need to not only know the truth, abide by the truth, and awaken to the truth, but now you need to speak the truth and really write it as well. If you can speak and write the truth and send it to the IRS and ask for them to disconfirm the truth, and they won't be able to, by the way, no matter how hard they try. Now you've removed yourself from their jurisdiction on a commercial administrative process, and they cannot enforce income tax on you because income tax is only for a trade and business. And you establish that you're not a trade or business. You established your rightful place in the hierarchy as a living human being, man or woman. And as a living human being, man or woman, you're exempt from income tax. Now, if you create a trade or business, you are still subject to taxation. That's how the founding fathers set it up, to create a more perfect union. As they set up God, we the people, the state of the union, the federal government, and the artificial entities. And they said, well, how are we going to fund the federal government? And I said, we will have a capitalist society where people will create business entities, and those business entities will be the ones that are taxable, which will contribute to the federal government so it can function properly. What the foreign banking cartel has done is it made not only we people into businesses, but it gave us a business the ability to make a business. So we already have 300 million people in the United States, maybe around 350 million people. Imagine every one of those people created their own business. We've effectively doubled the amount of businesses inside of our country just by that logic, because we're identifying ourselves as a business. And that's what the Social Security card is. That's what your residency is, what your address is. That Social Security card is your business number. It's like your EIN number. And your EIN number for your state incorporated statutory business, which by the way, even the states, not the state of the union, but the states, state of Washington, state of Florida, state of Arkansas, state of New York, are also artificial entities. So what they did is they took a carbon copy of what we've created here in the United States, and they created this carbon copy with similar names as all artificial entities. So now you have the U.S. corporation, you have this as the top, okay? So you look at We the People, the equivalent to the We the People is U.S. Inc. Under U.S. Inc. is supposed to be then the states. Under the Republic, it's the State of the Union. Under the corporation, it's called State of, all caps. State of Washington Corporation and stuff like that, right? Then you have the federal, or then you have the state agencies, right? So you still have the the Secretary of State, but then you also have the Secretary of State, right? For the corporation. There's a duplication within the natural order. Then you go to the federal government. The federal government even has its own statutory ones, which is where the IRS is. The IRS works for the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank. It's a private corporate bank. The IRS is a private corporate enforcement agency for the Federal Reserve. So you see what this is? It's just they copied what's an example, and this is why we're confused. And then now that they're in charge up here because they mimicked what the founding fathers intended to build, now when we try to fight, now we're fighting upwards, not going downwards. And this is why we lose court cases. This is why we have to pay the income tax. This is why we're confused about who we are. This is why we don't have our money back, our gold and our silver. It's where our slavery has become rampant. And this is what you need to do. How do you get sovereignty today? The first thing is you got to realize the truth. You have to be awakened to it. You don't have to do anything. You know, there is, I remember there was an AA group that I attended with my friend. He's been going to AA now for 9 years, and I'll go with him on some of them. And I remember I was speaking with someone, and they said, I asked them, you know, I was like, Paul Michael, I'm celebrating. He just celebrated his 30 years of being sober. One of the people at the group. And I went up and talked to him. I was like, wow, congratulations, 30 years being sober. And he's like, yeah. And I said, how did you do it? How did you go 30 years? And like, there were things so bad that you forced yourself into a negative connotation about alcohol and how destructive it is. It just, you know, drove you to keep on going. Was it the accountability of the people inside of this group? Was you showing up every single week or bi-weekly to these groups in order to keep you on track? What was the success of your sobriety? And, you know, he told me something I'll never forget. He's just like, no, it was none of that, Paul Michael. It's like, it was simply this. Like, you know, when I had a drink, and I would drink, it was automatic. It was not even a part of my consciousness. Grabbing a can of alcohol or going to a bar and starting to drink took no thought process or awareness at all. I just would automatically do it. And it's the fact that I wasn't aware of what I was doing that made it a secondary compulsory act. So what I did is every time I wanted to take a drink, I told myself, I didn't beat myself up. I didn't judge myself. I didn't say, you're a bad person for drinking. I didn't blame myself. I didn't blame anybody. What I did is I just started to be aware. And what he would do is he grab a cup and he says, this is a bottle of wine. I'm going to drink this wine. I'm going to taste it in my mouth. I'm going to feel it going down my throat and into my gut. I'm going to wait a few minutes. I'm going to feel the rush of the buzz. I'm going to feel myself getting loose. I'm going to feel the tension from my shoulders relaxing. And what I did, Paul Michael, is every time I took a drink, I would be aware of what I'm doing and what is happening. And because I was aware, God showed me what the problem was. Because through awareness is where you see where the problems lie. You get the eyes of God through awareness because you're having the wisdom and awareness of God. That's how the devil gets you, is he gets you so distracted, gets you worried about school, gets you worried about get rich quick schemes, gets you concentrated on you being a slave and how the system's getting you down, and gets you complaining, gets you involved in the 9-to-5 rat race, gets you constantly bombarded with the problems of day-to-day life, that you're unable to be aware because you're compulsively reacting to your day-to-day situations. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever just woke up during the day and you went about your day, and the week goes by and you wake up on a Saturday morning and you're like, wow, what happened this last week? And you go and do the years of talking with your wife and you're like, what happened this last year? It went so fast. Well, we were busy. We were doing stuff or whatever. And you're just going through the motions of life. You're not even aware of what it is that you're doing. You just know when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, you have to get in the shower, put on your shoes, shirt, do your hair, get out the door, do your 9-to-5 shift, come home, take care of the kids, put dinner on the table, watch your favorite television show with a beer, and then go to bed to go do it all over the next day. You got to become aware. You got to be aware of what you're doing every day, and your awareness starts with within. You got to say, am I happy or am I comfortable doing this for the rest of my life, or do I want to make a change? And that's the second part, is awareness and the willingness to want to change. And once you want to make the change and you have your awareness, now you're set up for success. It's right in front of you after that. And what is the number one way to be successful in life? Does anybody know? Do you know what the number one way guaranteed to be successful in life on all things? Anybody ever brought that up to you? Ever thought about that? What is the number one way to be successful in life? Guaranteed. What is that? It's really to recognize opportunity and to take action on that opportunity as soon as it's presented to you. God brings opportunity to you and your life through people. If you are aware of your surroundings and you have a willingness to change, you will be in the perfect position to see opportunity, and then all you got to do is grab it and take action. You don't even have to do a certain action. You just got to say, yes, I want to do that. And you just wait. Opportunity will come to you. You can still go to your rat race. You can still go to your 9-to-5 job, and it will come in. And what I'm doing here today is I'm giving you I want to show you an opportunity to get out of your day-to-day busy life job where you're doing the same monotonous things over and over, to where your rights are trampled on, where you don't see a way out. You're constantly bombarded by debt. You don't have a purpose. Your purpose is being driven by a boss, a manager, or somebody else dictating your life, and you want some freedom. Let me tell you, the answer is to be back in the private. To be in the private. Like our founding fathers said, the most basic right of sovereignty is the right to be left alone. Your right to privacy is to be left alone. And this is why I created Creditor Academy. Creditor Academy is everything that you need to go private. We take you from the infancy of giving you awareness of how the system works through Sovereignty 101. We go through the SPC and status correction, which is your declaration that you're aware and that you want to do action and make proclamation that you know what's going on and you're not going to take it anymore. We have then operate private, where we now use other entities instead of you, the corporate straw man, to operate in public, which, by the way, has the most amount of risks. Man, you take out a car loan, you take out a home loan, you get a credit card, you put it all in your name, and then some circumstance happens in your life, like the government calling you and saying no jab, no job, or does a circumvents you with COVID-19, and you put your entire family into a situation that you have no control over, and they only send you a check for $2,000 and say, good luck to survive. And all of a sudden your life is ruined. Ruined. There are people today that are still not recovered from COVID. Businesses went out. New York is not the same ever since it. And it was under that system to where everybody's personal credit and personal liabilities of their previous life, where everything was hunky-dory, going just fine, changed in an instant. And that one change put everybody further into the rat race, put them further into their unawareness to where they can't do action. Now they are so into survival that they can't get out. there is a way out. There is a way to discharge bad credit. That's what we have a course on our website called I Want Remedy Now. I Want Remedy Now is everything with dealing with getting rid of the personal credit problems that you're experiencing. We got to make your profile good first. Then the next thing that we do before we get another 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 line of credit is we make sure that it is another entity that we own and control that is taking all of the risk and not us. What this is going to do is it's going to embolden you to take risks, right? You need to take risks in life. Life is nothing but risk. And that's what I love about capitalism. You go big, you go home, but there's no better place to do it, to the rise and fall. Oh, man, I love it. And you know what? Every single bit of opportunity that you take in life that's presented to you is a risk. So if you're going to take that risk, let's set you up with an entity to set you up. So that's where Masterclass membership comes in a big way. We have our Masterclass membership and we have our premium courses. Masterclass membership gets you an entity, a business trust, which is the most powerful private entity that you can operate with in the United States. The Rockefellers use it. The Carnegies used it. You got the Wozniaks. You have the Bezoses. They all use business trusts because you're able to conduct business in the private without registering with the state. And it's backed by American Jurisprudence, 2nd edition, volume 13. This is the most powerful entity. So what we do at Creditor Academy is we give you the template for the whole business trust. So you can start operating in a private, getting an EIN, and opening up a bank account. Okay, now I got a bank account, Paul Michael. Okay, I didn't register with the state. I just got a notary stamp. All right, I could do that. Then what? Next thing that we have to do is now that you have an entity to have fun with and you got a bank account for that entity, now we may be able to transfer funds into that account, right? This is where merchant processing comes in. The problem is the Stripe, PayPal, Clover, and all the rest do not like business trusts. They're owned by the software and technology cartel. So what we have is called private merchant processing. These are bankers' connections that I personally made establishing Creditor Academy. Very lucky to find. And what we do is, as a free complimentary service with your masterclass, is we set up the private merchant services with your private entity. Oh, snap, dog. Paul Michael, what's up? So I got now my private entity. I can now accept money in the private, so people don't know what I'm transacting, who I'm doing business with. And I got my bank account. Now what do I do? Now the third step is the optimization of this profile. You have to give a body, an image to this entity, right? Business trusts are of equal rights almost to human beings. If you read American Jurisprudence, it even says that business trusts have equal rights almost to human beings because it's backed by the Constitution, by common law, and by contract law. And those are the three laws that we use in order for our rights too. Okay. So we create the profile. We give it an image. We give it, we get a business address. We get a website and all of this. We optimize the profile so then you look professional. All of this is very cost effective, does not take a lot of investment to do, and you can set it up in as little as a week. And when I say a little as a week, I'm talking about the business trust, the optimization, and the private merchant processing. So now, Paul Michael, okay, I did all of this. Okay, well, but what is this? What are you leading me to? What's the end goal here? Why am I a masterclass member and doing these steps? The reason why you're doing the steps is you're making a carbon copy of yourself. Like I said, this is all about risk litigation. You know, we need to minimize that risk. So this risk now is extended through this artificial entity. So now what you're going to do is you're going to walk in to the bank Well, hey there, how's it going? And I'm like, yeah, how can I help you? I like a credit card. Oh, okay. What can I do you for? And I'm like, yeah, they want a credit card. I'm like, okay, great. Well, let's check your profile. They check the profile. Okay, you got everything that you need here. Oh, I see it's a business entity. Oh, okay, you got your merchant processing. It's got an established account. Okay, we'll give you a line of credit. This line of credit now is spent by this entity. And unlike you, when you took out a line of credit to get a loan for a car, a house, or whatever, and COVID happened and you couldn't pay for your responsibility of what you owed back, guess what you had to do? You had to go back to a 9-to-5 job that you hate, and you had to work for 2 to 3 years in order to pay it all back on what you contracted and signed up for. Not this bad boy. This bad boy is separate from you. This isn't going to go get a 9-to-5 job. This one isn't going to slave away. If this person defaults on their credit payments or credit obligations, guess what you do? You drop it and you create another one. You create another business trust. Just like that. And this is the power of operating in the private. It's such a small adjustment to what you do on your day-to-day life. It's all it is. You're removing the straw man, you're removing the liability, and you're getting into this. This is step one. If you could do this small first step, it will give you so much confidence to move forward and to succeed. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you to succeed, and we keep it very simple. After masterclass, when you get the foundation, then we can get into our premium courses, okay? The premium courses complement your masterclass first step. Hey, I'm Paul Michael. I got my business trust. I want to know more about how to deal with taxes, how to get out of taxes. We're going to say, screw you to the IRS. Well, I don't want to pay any taxes on this bad boy. Well, you got the best vehicle in the nation for operating a business. So you want to get out of taxes? Got you, bro. No problem. Or maybe you're just like, Paul Michael, I have the awareness. I'm in the private. I'm in these great groups. We have live sessions every single day, Monday through Friday, for masterclass, where I talk about these steps. I have modules for these steps. I have recordings for these steps, and they're all put together by my instructional designers. We have now 93 full-time staff here at Creditor Academy, and all we do is spend all day to make your learning experience equal to a university. It's amazing. Oh, I love it. So we talk every single day. So you have me live to talk with you and a group of class members that show up every day to where you can ask questions, get the next steps, and also you can study at your own pace with our modules that give you the step-by-step as well. We give you so much for masterclass. Then when you're ready, the premium courses are for your next level. Paul Michael, I want to become private. I want to do my SPC. I'm excited to do my status correction. I'm so motivated to learn about how to do administrative procedure and stuff like that. That's become private. Those are three different huge topics all built into one curriculum. The second thing is operate private. Hey, Paul Michael, I got the business trust. Well, I also want to know about private membership associations. I want to also know about real estate and how to get real estate in the private. I also want to know how to do Turo and Airbnb in the private. That is in the operate private curriculum. All of those things that I just listed that we discussed. Then the third curriculum that we have is called the unlimited credit. Okay. This is where I want remedy now. This is where our private business credit is. And this is also if you want to become a private merchant yourself and actually provide private merchant services. That's where the cluster comes in. We get anywhere between $200,000 to $1 million, and we show you the whole step-by-step of how to do it, and also to do in the private. So those are our three huge curriculums. But if you're just hearing this message today, come be a masterclass member. It's low risk, cancel anytime. and just get the basics done and gain yourself some confidence and start building your awareness. And all I'm going to do every single day, me and the group that's around you, we're just going to do the same thing. Every single day, we're going to extend to you new opportunity. That's all we're going to do. And we're going to put you in a space where opportunity is so abundant that you can see opportunity as it arises, so you can make the decision to say yes or no. And then go about your daily life and just let God lead you ever since. Thank you for listening to this feature presentation today. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel or been a part of our private Facebook group, our private Facebook group has 3,500 members inside of it and growing. Or a Telegram or a Rumble channel or a TikTok, please join all of the amazing live classes and social media on our and our YouTube channel. And please, we would look forward to seeing you inside of Masterclass, getting to know you and growing our community. Well, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.